We are out here today with two ICE officers who have been assaulted amid 1,000% increase in such attacks. You just faced a recent assault that has become viral. Tell me how many stitches you have and what happened.
Anywhere from 13 to 18. I'm not sure I was allowed of it. And we were stopping a vehicle. We had an individual who was visa overstay from Mexico. We traffic stopped the vehicle. We were able to box the vehicle in, but the passengers bailed out. And the passenger, as he ran through what I thought was about 32-ounce Yeti-style coffee cup into my face, full of hot coffee.
Is this from the coffee you have on
Second-degree burns on my face, neck, arm, chest.
What's up, MMP fam? As each day progresses, we see there's a different twist and a different turn to this story. When the story first broke, ICE was accused of murder. That's right. ICE was accused of murder. The governor, who's under investigation, the mayor, who also is under investigation, came out and did press conferences accusing ICE of murder. They were saying, making derogatory comments at these press conferences about this officer who no one knew at the time, who at first blush, it appeared though he overreacted in a hostile situation. Yes, it was hostile. These ICE agents have been attacked not only in Minnesota, but wherever they are. This is called the weaponization of TDS. The media is turning people up against ICE. When you make a living, which is odd in this case, but when you make a living agitating law enforcement, harassing law enforcement, what is the likely outcome of that? Typically, normal people are going about their day, going about their life, trying to avoid law enforcement. But here we see in the era of Trump, of TDS, of Trump derangement syndrome, people being weaponized. The left is weaponizing their base to go after immigration and custom enforcement officers. In a newly released video, we see a different perspective than what was offered in the initial days of this incident. We see two ladies. One was blocking the street for 4 minutes, allegedly. She had been blocking the street for 4 minutes, leading a convoy of other agitators on this street. Now, I'm sorry, I got to go there. Who gets up out of the bed in the morning dreaming and having visions of agitating law enforcement officers, harassing law enforcement officers? Typically, again, as I stated earlier, who does that? Who goes about their day looking for law enforcement officers to agitate? This is not going to be a good outcome, people. The only people that are likely to deal with law enforcement on any type of regular basis are criminals. Criminals know eventually if they continue in their ways, it is more likely that they're going to run into law enforcement at some point. And that is the risk they are willing to take, up to lethal force. If you are a paid agitator somewhere in this country, if you are a paid agitator, paid to harass ICE enforcement, paid to harass people doing their job, you should be ashamed of yourself. Do you have a life? Obviously, and I'm not saying this woman didn't have a life, but she definitely had a family that she was willing to risk being with, as we see how this story tragically has ended. This was not murder, as the media wants to portray. This was an officer who felt that his life was in danger and he acted. This was an officer who earlier in the video I showed you had been dragged in another incident. So to say he was suffering from post-traumatic PTS or whatever the circumstances was, he was back on the job. He didn't go out. He didn't know that morning his day would end like that. Just like Renee Good did not realize when she left the house that morning, she would not be returning. People, ladies and gentlemen, You have to understand when you are confronting law enforcement as a way of life, when you are being confrontational with law enforcement as a job, as a paid agitator, realize you're being used by the Democratic Party. When a content creator has to make a video admonishing the left or people from the left, speaking as a former left voter, as a former Democrat, once you take your emotions out of this equation, you're going to see the Democrats for who they are. They're a bunch of charlatans. They say one thing, they do something completely different. They don't ever want to do anything about what they're talking about. They've been talking about immigration laws being changed. They've been lamenting that for over 20 years. It's a game with them. The Democrats need something to run on because they don't have a policy. They never have a policy. They are great and they use the media. The media drives the getaway car for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party commits crimes, and guess who's behind the wheel? The media. The lamestream media covers for the Democrats. Just like in this incident here. They were ready to call this ICE officer a murderer. The media jumped on Mayor Frye saying that at his press conference, and the governor lamenting the same. And now you see the Democrats are lining themselves just like they do. It's a coordinated attack from top to bottom. That's when they had that meeting after this event another event took place. They all got their stories together and they're all saying the same thing. If you tell a lie 1,000 times, some people are likely to believe it. A famous man once said, I don't know his name, it's not a lie if you believe it. You're about to see the latest video that has been released by, yes, us, content creators, people who have their own social platforms, citizens, right-thinking, not politically, but just right-thinking citizens. Someone in their residence taped this video, and it offers a completely, totally different perspective than what we were told in the first press conference by Mayor Frye and the governor, Tim Walz. Now, we know from the incident back in 2020 that they will finesse a story to their advantage, to the Democrats' advantage. And that's what they're doing now. The first to report versus first to be accurate. The lamestream media is more concerned about being first to report, not accurate, first to report, to get the people enraged over something that they don't even know the full facts on. Let's take a look. At this point of the video, ICE is doing their job, what they're hired to do. You can hear a horn in the background. The dog barking is of the homeowner who made this video. You hear people blowing the horn, which we all know this is an indication to those in the area who are illegals that ICE is in the area. Let's continue. As you can see, minutes before the incident is taking place, this is the vehicle Renee Good is traveling in. You can see she's parked in the middle of the street, interfering in an ICE operation. At this point, the officers are up the street from her. She's passed through the area, identified the issue. Now she's interfering at this point. Just want to be clear about that. At this point in the video, what you see is Renee Good in the middle of the street, blocking the street. The officers are nowhere near her at this point. For those that want to sit back and call this incident a murder, she has an opportunity not to be where she is right now. Renee Good could have been anywhere in the world at this point in her life, but she chose to be on this street where an ICE operation is in effect. Clearly, we know the outcome of this incident. Renee Good is no longer with us. And she had a choice. She made her choice as the officer made his choice. Never put yourself in the middle of law enforcement operations. This is paid agitators, paid to harass law enforcement because they disagree with the Trump administration's immigration policies to deport these criminals and anyone hanging out with them. If they kick in the door and you're with someone there, they came to arrest for whatever reason, they're taking everybody down. If you don't have your papers together, you'll probably be deported too. This is immigration policy that the Democrats have been talking about enforcing for over 20 years. Now it's being enforced. Look how they look now.